All right. Is everybody ready? Yep. Okay. Perfect. So let's talk really quickly before I get into this. I'm really excited to do this course with you all because this is not something that I think is easy to learn. It's not the hardest thing to learn, but it's not easy to learn. It is a little bit complicated, but it's also one of the most fun new technologies that exists in web development today. And in fact, I think you'll find many big companies using it in production because of how easy the development process is and because of all the great tooling around it. And in fact, I think that React in general, this React course wouldn't have been as easy to make a couple years back just because there was so much configuration and setup around React apps. And now a lot of people, like really brilliant, smart people, have come together and made tooling and an ecosystem around React that makes it really easy to build stuff, but just like get it up and running. And so I'm going to actually show you how to do that. We're going to do the setup, and it's going to be 1,000 times easier than a lot of the other projects. And we're just going to do it real quick, get right into it, and just make this happen. But if you have any questions anytime, just stop me, tell me, like, pause for a second, because some of the stuff, like, it's going to go a little over your head at the beginning, and I'm going to go back and we're going to revisit the same concepts again and again and again. So if you start to freak out, you're like, hey, look, I have no idea what's going on. That's cool. Just stop me, pause. I'll pause and explain a few things, and then we'll just talk through some of the more difficult stuff. Is that cool with everybody? Cool. Are you ready? Great. So we've just created a new workspace in Cloud9. This is a Node workspace, but we kind of have to do some Node stuff first. But before we even do any of that, this Node workspace comes with some files. Let's go ahead and just go in there and honestly just press Shift click and highlight the whole thing, and then Control click and click delete, and just delete everything because we're going to start fresh. Cool? Is that all right with everybody? And you can delete this README file too. So everything is fresh in here. I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit so you can see this a little easier. Can everybody see that? Yeah? Okay, cool. I don't need to make it any bigger. All right, perfect. Um, so like I was saying, React has come a long way, and we've been working with Node a little bit, and you're going to actually need Node for this, but the version of Node that comes with Cloud9, 6.11, is probably not what we need. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to upgrade both Node and NVM. So if you come in here and you're like, you want to upgrade some stuff, you can type in, I think it's nvm install. Let's see what's the latest version of Node. Node.js. Right now, the latest version is 10.15. Actually, the latest version is 11.6, but we're going to use 10.15.0. And so all you need to do is nvm install 10.15.0, just like that. Make sure it's nvm, not npm, which we're also going to use in a minute. Is that cool with everybody? So if you hit enter, it'll install it. It'll take a second, and it'll tell you now using Node version 10.15.0, NPM version 6.4.1. And one of the things that comes with NPM, with this new version of NPM, is this thing's called NPX, and that makes your life really easy. It takes care of so much of the setup and environment creation that we used to have to do, and we don't have to do it anymore. So now you can use this thing called NPX and this thing called Create React App to just build the beginnings of your app for you. So literally all we need to do is we're going to say npx create-react-app, and then we're going to pick the name of our app, which I've picked it here, Coffee Shop, but I'm going to call it Coffee Shop again. Just like that, and hit enter. And if you do that, it'll go through a little setup process, which might take a second, creating a new React app in Home, Ubuntu, Workspace, Coffee Shop. This might take a couple of minutes, and it will. And you see it's installing React, this thing called React DOM, and this thing called React Scripts. Again, don't worry about too much of like what this is. Just know that right now it is doing all the setup for us, so we don't have to do. Like back in the day, you had to use something called Webpack, and you have to go through this Webpack setup process that people called Webpack hell because it's kind of complicated. Now things have gotten a lot better since then. React has come a long way, and these two tools in particular, NPX and Create React App, mean that a lot of the setup you used to have to do is just seamless. And so even though it's taking a minute, it is doing all the work behind the scenes that we used to have to do on our own. And so as soon as it's done, which I'm actually going to pause this video here and let it just finish. But as soon as it's done, we'll be ready to build a little app. So I'm gonna let this run. I'm gonna pause this here and we'll come back in a second when it's done. Okay, so now that it's finished, we see it says, we suggest that you begin by typing cd coffee shop npm start. It even tells you exactly what you do. And if you want to look up here, it'll tell you all the commands we need to do. Don't worry about that. Just if we type ls, we see, hey, there's coffee shop, and we can open it up. And there's our whole app. Let's cd into coffee shop and do exactly what it says. Let's run npm start. npm start. And it should take a second. But once it does that, it'll start a development server. Cool, cool, cool. This will run, and as soon as that's ready, we can preview our running application here. Oh, there we go, and it's ready. And it says you can now view Coffee Shop in the browser. So click Preview Running Application, and I'm going to pop it into a new browser screen. And as soon as we do that, we should see this pre-made app already built for us. And there's even a place to go that'll take you to the React.js docs, so you can learn React from the docs. So this is amazing. Like, we're already ready to rock and roll. And in the source, you'll find actually all of our application. If you want to know where all this comes from, it comes from this source file right here. And this is what we're going to be editing over the next couple videos. So I think that's all we need to do for now. The setup is done. We're ready to start building apps. And I think that's really cool because that's pretty painless, seamless, and we can just start building apps. Cool. So I'm going to end this video here, and then we'll come back in a sec.